With the first fashion week of 2022 behind us, it only makes sense that we review our favorites. But since many Japanese brands were stuck showcasing in Tokyo due to COVID restrictions, they didn't get a lot of coverage. So the casual must do what the casual do, or does, whatever, bad grammar aside. What's up, everybody? I'm Reggie Casual, if you didn't know already, and here are our 10 favorite Japanese labels from Fashion Week 2022. Intro, please. Starting us off, we got Undercover. Jun Takahashi gave us some more from his psycho-themed mind in his latest menswear offering. And while his men's collections are often less ambitious technically than the women's, this year's collection has a few notable nods that are worth mentioning. The oversized play on today's current trends notwithstanding, it's not hidden at all. Jun plays with it a bit though by adding a bit of a tailored flair and textile choice that others may not have done. That makes it incredibly approachable despite the menacing glares from the models. They looked very mad for some reason. Notable is the use of layered kilts and skirts across street and formal looks alike, something that was seen all over menswear this year. While others have invoked this to further the genderless discussion in men's fashion, Jun opts for more familiarity as the pairing doesn't seem out of place or with an agenda attached to it. It actually looks like you can wear it and nobody's gonna be like, so you're going genderless now, all right. Nobody's gonna complain. It actually looks really good. Now, if loungewear has you grumbling and fatigue, yet you dig its simplicity, like I like it that it's simple, but you yearn for something a bit more thoughtful, then Issey Miyake Homme Plus was by far one of the most, was just the greatest collection for you minimalists out there. Satoshi Kondo and team were inspired by tents, like tents. You go outside camping while developing this collection, which resulted in this ballooning effect across a myriad of pieces. Now, most pieces take note from the camping essential, but none caught the eye as much as the new arc-styled pant that they developed. Quote, Vogue, when speaking about these pants, said, "This is fashioned from diagonally pleated magic Miyake material and features a curving pleat that runs from the back of the hip down the quad to just below the outward side of the knee. And it's a little tapered down at the ankle." Translation, these pants will likely be must-buys for anyone who has committed to Miyake pants in the past. That perfect bounce and silhouette that Homme Plus is known for is present, and the collection itself is likely going to become even more popular among the thinking minimalists out there. It's wonderful. I want some pieces. That's not to say that you should have some, but it looks amazing. This next one is an enigma. In many ways, it's odd how Yosuke Aizawa's white mountaineering hasn't yet had its day in the sun, particularly today when outdoor slash gork-core slash hiker-core style is becoming increasingly popular. Aizawa's penchant for using utility fabrics on pieces we normally reserve for formal wear, I should say, is simply flawless in approach. And white mountaineering continues to push that conversation forward of outdoor styles. Per usual, Aizawa began his collection with his color palette for the season that combines earth, mid-tones, and a bit of southwestern United States, mixing in utility with contemporary. And by the end, we saw an array of extremely technical pieces that would make any fan of tech proud. It's just a well-rounded collection for anybody who likes that style or who doesn't want to go too far, or maybe they do want to go too far. It's great. It's just, there's a lot of balance there, and you should definitely check it out if you're a fan of the more outdoor styles, which again, like I said, are becoming even more popular. Fumito Ganryu, yeah, his resurgence under his namesake label over the last few seasons has been a much needed breath of fresh air in Japanese fashion in particular, let alone just the world of fashion. Love having him around, it's just great. And with this fall 2022 collection, we begin to understand why Fumito's brand of design is much needed. He's been like one of the few designers that's unafraid to play with staple pieces in increasingly unexpected ways. Like for example, pieces like an MA1 or a hoodie with pockets that actually serve as armholes, which is interesting, but it's workable. And what Ganryu really does well though is taking street in particular and blowing it up, both literally and figuratively, oversizing the oversized. It seems a bit ironic in its take, but the collection pairs that with more approachable looks that make the collection far more accepting of the experimental, which is right up the alley of Fumito Ganryu. Added to that, you have the great use of technical fabrics. So it should feel good to wear while also looking unique and good at the same time. And this next one, Junichi Abe. I mean, the husband of Chitose Abe is in an impossible situation. His wife is one of the most celebrated designers today, and Sacai is miles ahead in terms of recognition, like brand recognition. But Junichi Abe's color, that's how you say it, it's not Kolor, it's kara, so it's color, is absolutely no slouch. This collection brought together a far more cohesive lineup of hidden elements and DIY embellishments that the designer is known for. Probably the most misunderstood element of Abe's design language is that it's messy and misconstrued. A lot of people think it's like homeless wear. But 2022 is a bit less involved than seasons past, which honestly isn't saying much as the label is incredibly technical. As a result, color leans on bold colors like reds and oranges to drive attention away from the more nuanced elements. This gives an initial simple impression at first glance, which is good for the casual fashion fan, but with further inspection makes pieces even better for the more nuanced one. So Kolor is just a fantastic collection for both casuals and intense purists alike. All right, so next, probably everyone was wondering when Kenzo was going to be mentioned on this list, as Nigo's first outing helming the label was probably the biggest star-studded event of Fashion Week. And even though Kenzo is based in Paris, it's still Nigo, he's Japanese, so yeah, he's gonna make the list. And by all accounts, the designer didn't disappoint. The collection was a lot like a time capsule, giving us nod to Kenzo Takada's past as a designer, and changes and references to 50s and 70s looks, ultimately ending with today rightly dubbed Kenzo under Nigo. This resulted in the use of classic Kenzo floral patterns mixed with Nigo's new tailoring binge we saw on a global scale with his collaboration with LV, so that made an appearance. Nigo has been playing with this since his Nigo collections at United Era, so it's not unexpected. In fact, this Kenzo collection, by its finality, was very upscale human-made-esque, while stamping his Japanese pride in the collection by using traditional Japanese silhouettes like kimono and using Japanese denim exclusively, which is awesome. Most importantly though, Kenzo is going to be incredibly popular under Nigo. The looks are standardized enough with surprisingly not too many strictly street references. It's grown up, but it's fun, and that's exactly what Kenzo has always been. And so we look forward to Nigo as he goes even further into the design language of what he views Kenzo as. Just hope that he gets even deeper and even more experimental in the future. Next up, we got Sacai because, of course, now in recent collections, Chitose Abe is making both women and men's looks parallel to each other, and the result is fantastic. It's something that many of us have been clamoring for, mainly because women's collections by Chitose are often far more ambitious. This fall 2022 collection still leaves a bit to be desired on the men's side, but there are some great pieces, like the leather shearling notwithstanding, as it's almost a grail for both sexes, whatever you want to call it. However, the women collection is so incredibly strong. The use of fabric, layering, lingerie elements, cropping, oversized make, and acute tailoring make for a collection that should be a gosh damn mess, but it comes off masterfully, as expected. Now on the men's side, we have a take on oversize with a bit of more consistency, but it certainly gives more reason for dudes to ditch skinny looks altogether. If anything, Sacai changes the discussion on style and its metamorphosis in these trying times. Chitose is showcasing yet again why she should be celebrated beyond the sneakers she keeps churning out for Nike. Although there was a Cortez on display that is definitely going to be the next Sacai sneaker of choice, so with Nike, so expect that as well. Next up, we got Yohji Yamamoto. Okay, Yohji Yamamoto is 78 years old, and yet he keeps on giving us more and more. And because he's Japanese, you can expect to see at least 30 more collections that he's gonna do. At least hopefully, he's a dragon. Japanese people are dragons, they live forever. But on to the present, Yohji gave us all a lesson in history and a masterclass in tailoring with his latest collection by employing Yutaka Matsushige, Toru Nakamura, Tsuyoshi Ihara, Masaya Kato, and Yasunori Mihara, all famous Japanese actors on his runway, along with his current design binge by upscaling using Polish artist
Gisław Beksinski.
I'm not gonna embarrass myself by pronouncing that name. I can only speak Japanese and English, but nothing else. I can't speak Polish, sorry. His work on a number of pieces, the collections achieved this natural rustic vibe that when combined with Yohji's perfectly imperfect brand of design language was simply like poetry in motion. How does like a 78-year-old give us a masterclass in voluminous silhouettes and experimental print techniques without advertising it? How does he do the same thing using a sustainable method of designing like upcycling without pressing it as an agenda? How? By remaining consistent and steadfast. It's nothing that he hasn't done before. It just looks great. Now for some, the oversized looks may look less tailored than in the past, but effortlessly go hand in hand with distressed hems on tailored jacket and fused artwork. So it works together, this kind of disheveled, on purpose look. Its simplicity is only eye-catching because of the depth, as Yohji continues to show that you can literally just wear his collections and be perfectly fine for the rest of your life. No need to be fashion forward. You just wear Yohji and you're always good. It's a solid foundation, which is awesome. I'm probably going to wear Yohji for the rest of my life. Me personally. You don't have to, but I will. All right, so we end this out with Comme des Garçons Homme Plus. Comme des Garçons Homme Plus. For starters, I'm personally convinced no one knows how avant-garde meets practicality quite like Rei Kawakubo, maybe Junya Watanabe, but she's the master. Now this collection was inspired by Rei's nomadic lifestyle, which unfortunately she has been unable to partake in due to the state of the world. I mean, in the collection, there's like a bit of sadness, a solemnness on display. If you look closely, you can see like the detailed raindrops on certain pieces. It's really, really just nuanced and thoughtful. The array of bombastic colors hidden behind mounds of full black coats and darker palettes is also notable. Cinch-waisted blazers accompanied by wide wool shorts or dress-like tops. To say that CDG isn't for everyone is an understatement, but when you start pulling apart these layers and pieces, there's a beauty and probably more importantly, a piece that anyone can appreciate. It's why Rei is heralded by men and women alike who take the time to understand her art, because frankly, she could always take the top spot on our list at least. Every collection is mind-bendingly thoughtful and introspective, but put more simply, casually, if you will, you know you want to appreciate it because you know who it's coming from and you just want to understand it. And even more so, once you start peeling those layers back, you'll undoubtedly want something. It's there, but you have to find it. You have to be willing to explore. Just like how Rei wants to and wants you to. Yeah, but eclectic ending aside, this fashion week beyond Japan was actually amazing. There were so many great collections and showcases despite our current reality, except for a few. More and more labels are going all out, and it's refreshing to see. So why not mention some of the ones that you like in the comments or add to this list of Japanese ones? Because there are a few. I mean, the Miharu Yasuhiro one was done in Asakusa on the street, and it was actually an amazing runway. And Doublet by Masayuki Ino was also fantastic, using metaverse references. I mean, it was all really great. So mention some of the ones that you liked in the comments from around the world. Doesn't matter, and just discuss it. Be great. But as always, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion, culture, and business. From Tokyo, it's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I'll see you guys in a minute.